everybody. Today I'm hosting event at the Medicine Life Balance at the 13 East 37th Street, New York, New York. And this is our clinic, which is where everybody welcome to come. So my name is Svetlana'S, I'm family nurse practitioner, and I am anti-aging specialist, board certified with American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. Today, the topic of our talk is the weight loss. And as easy as the subject, as familiar it sounds, it's not so simple as it may appear. So, what is the weight loss? The definition of a weight loss is decrease of a body weight. Is that what we're really trying to achieve when we're involved into the weight loss? Not really. The weight loss may be caused by dehydration, loss of water, loss of the vascular mass, loss of the fat mass. Our truly goal of a weight loss is really loss of the fat mass. So what is we looking in a weight loss program is the change of the body composition. And that is what we'll talk about. What is we need to do, what is we have to achieve, how we have to achieve. So desirable goals, fat reduction. However, sometimes I have people come in my practice and those people are very skinny and they don't need the weight loss, but when I start talking to them, they say, oh, but I have this spot and I have that spot. And my answer is, you don't need a weight loss, you need a body contouring, which is a totally different medical goals. So today we will else try to describe what is you have to be trying to achieve. A weight loss, a body contouring, how you have to make your decision. So how we think if we need a weight loss or we don't? Well, many people will be look at how we look in the mirror, which is the weight size, with the clothes size. It is not like the medical professional will understand the weight loss. The medical professional will estimate the weight loss as the problem of the optimal health achievement. What is we use as the tool which is we use to understand where the person stands on the matter of good and bad weight is the body mass index. This is something which is you can find on internet, and this is a calculator. Let's just talk about the ideal body weight composition. Body weight composition talking about the percentage of the fat. And you can see here, what is for women of the average woman, it will be between 10 to 13%, for men it will be 2 to 5%. Athletes has a different composition. Obese people will be more than optimal. So how we think about the body weight? The body weight, we're talking about the body mass index. Body mass index is a tool which is we use routinely in the medical field to understand if a person normal weight, overweight, obese or underweight sometimes. Normal body mass index is between 20 to 25. That is what we all want to be. The people below 20 is underweight. Sometimes it can be a problem, but this is not the topic of conversation today. Today we will be talking about overweight and obesity. So the person who is in the body mass index between 25 to 30 is overweight. Between 30 to 35 is it's stage 1 obesity. At 35 to 40, it is a stage 3 obesity, and over 40, it is a stage 3 obesity. Medically considering morbid obesity, the obesity which is disease on its own, started from a body mass index 35 if a person has any other disease, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. All those diseases and the risk factors will be enhanced and worsening by the fact of obesity, and they just start from a body mass index 35. Body mass index 40 is actually morbid obesity for anybody. That is a disease which is affect expectation of your future health and your future longevity. And this is a problem. Below 35, it's not considered to be medically significant obesity. However, if it's there, that may need to have an intervention, early intervention, to prevent you into the going of morbid obesity. Medical intervention starts from the body mass index 27. Until that, I cannot give anybody medication-assisted weight loss. After 27, I can offer certain things which would help people to lose weight more effectively. So, how do they calculate the need of the weight loss? If I go by body composition, watches will do. Watches will do in the clinic, in my clinic. We're asking people to stand on the scale. Those scales is a professional medical scales which has a capacity of analyze your body composition. Once your composition is analyzed, we have in that little receipts. Watches will say your weight. Watches will say your body mass index. Watches will say your fat mass, and else it will say which is your recommended fat mass. We will try to go in difference between your present fat mass and the upper limit of your fat mass, and that just will be your minimal weight loss goal. You want to be in an optimal fat range. Your ideal body weight will be in the middle of a normal fat range. So in the middle of the fat range is your optimal weight loss goal. If somebody will be with the fat mass, like over here, I have a receipt for the little person who is body mass index 19.9. This person is not a candidate for the weight loss. However, when that lady came to me, she complained about deposit of the fat on her belly. And my answer was, what you need is a body contouring. So how the body contouring is different from the weight loss? Weight loss is the reduction of the fat all over the body. You lose weight, your body composition changes, but in a matter of fact, you don't have much of control where that fat will go away from. With the body contouring, you will be doing influence on the certain stubborn fat deposits, and your fat will be reduction of the fat will be in the area which is a most of problem for you. The methods of the body contouring is here. The most known and probably most effective is a liposuction, right? This is what the plastic surgeons do. But else there is several methods which could be used for the fat reduction other than liposuction. That is body freezing, body fat, influence of the body fat with the heat, laser-based technology, the influence of the body fat with the ultrasound, which is cavitation, and sometimes an injection. The injection's example is a Cabela. Cabela is the method of the body contouring. Then the local deposit of the fat will be resolved as a result of influence by the acid. Why the diet is must, right? The people come to me and say, just give me the pill or just give me the shot and I will be losing weight. Why the diet? Our body will not lose weight unless it has to. And the only reason why the body will be using this fat deposit, the storage fat deposit, if the body is in need to use it for energy. If you have enough food consumption to meet your energy needs, your body does not burn your fat. So whatever else you do, you would have to be on a diet, and there is a very good reason to be on a diet and exercise, and we will touch that reason in a little bit. So to lose 1 pound of fat, you need to be in a deficit of 3,500 calories. This is not what just anybody can achieve in one day. But as long as it will take you to achieve that 2,500 calories deficit, that is how long it will take you to lose 1 pound of fat. What is a lot of diets? Not all the diets are for the weight loss. A lot of those diets has a different reason. Here on the screen you have example of several diets which is maybe used, like Paleolithic diet, very common diet, very reasonable diet, very good diet basically. It's based on what is our ancestors being eaten before the civilization time basically, and it has a lot of fruits, it has a lot of vegetables, it has some meat, it is using raw products, which is it doesn't use processed food, right? Or processed foods is cold cuts, canned food, that's just processed food. So it's very natural for us, it's good. The main reason why that Paleolithic diet will be used is a well-nutrition and health body. However, in combination with the calories restrictions, which will create a deficit of the calories and will encourage your body to use your storage fat for the energy that could be used for the weight loss. Low-fat diets, being popular for the generations, become less popular lately. They being used for pretty much the same reason. The problem with the low-fat diets, they're usually short-term. The short-term diets in general have a problem because losing weight in short-term diets usually does not bring you into the healthy weight range. It doesn't bring you to what is your health need. It doesn't fix your health problems. And as a matter of fact, it's a kind of a diet, your dieting, that is a kind of a diet which is in most will lead people to the failure and to regaining weight, because you did not go into the good weight. You just get down on the one side. And imagine the situation if somebody is overweight, let's say 100 pounds, right? And we lose 20 pounds, right? And we're happy because 20 pounds is a light. We're feeling better, the clothes fits better, we look better, but that loss even did not move them from the zone of obesity. As a matter of fact, they remain in the range of morbid obesity and all the health risks are still present. That is not the solution to the situation. So the low-fat diet is a short-term. They can be used in certain situations, usually recommended by the doctor, but they are not very good strategy for the major fat weight loss, and they usually fail. There is a couple new tendencies which is we have in the modern medicine, which has become more and more popular, and those tendencies are interesting. Like one of them is here on the screen, the yellow part is intermediate fasting diet. What is that? That is basically a diet when you're restricting time of a day when you eat. And usually that is the ratio of 8 hours, 16 hours. 8 hours a day you eat and 16 hours you don't. Well, please make sure what is your 8 hours is not during the night time, because we are not natural creature. It's not what is good for us to eat during the night. So you need to eat during the day. You have to be fasting during the night. That diet is pretty good because it is targeting not just the weight loss, it is targeting the anti-aging feature, and we're talking about the cellular regeneration, resetting the cell cycle, resetting the receptors, being able to use insulin better, being able to use other hormones better, and improving function of mitochondria. Mitochondria is a part in our cell which is actually breaks our sugar or fat for energy. That is what is making us use the energy, right, instead of gaining weight. So that is very good trend. Still, you need to be under the calorie need, under the body weight maintenance calorie need for that diet to bring you to the weight loss. It will be good for your body. It doesn't mean it will make you lose weight if you eat enough calories to meet your body requirements. There is one more diet which I would like to put to your attention, and that is a kind of patented diet that is made by the group of scientists, and now we own a company called Prolon. That is a fasting mimic diet. What is that? They created a kit which is allow you to have some food in a period of 5 days, and in that kit you will have some soups, some tea, some nutritional bars. However, biochemically, your body will have the same processes like if you will be completely fasting. And that diet is actually anti-aging. That is, diet was directly created to reset your body, to have your body function more healthy. So if you want the recommended cycle of 3 months, 5 days of a month you are on that kit, and another days of a month you eat regular food. Would it be cycle really weight loss cycle? No. This diet is excellent, but not for a weight loss. However, we say that people do lose some weight. Well, the potential for a weight loss on the diet is less than other options. Now, there is a good question, which is I also hear a lot, is the calorie restrictions is enough? The people come and say, okay, try calorie restriction, but I'm not losing weight. Is it possible? Well, yes. Unfortunately, there is factors other than the calories restriction, which will influence effective weight loss. So some of those factors you can see on here. Gut-immune balance. What is the gut-immune balance? We have a microflora in our intestines, right? As a matter of fact, that microflora is very important. Over the several years, we start talking about that as a new organ, a microbiome, right? That is bacteria which is normally live in our intestine. They healthy, we need them because they helping us to break down the food. If those bacteria is not there and the food is not breaking down, we have something which is called leaking gut syndrome, right? Which is leaking gut syndrome. It's then because of missing bacteria, we are actually ingesting toxins. So gut bacteria is important. If it's not functioning well, that may influence weight loss. How you know you have your bacteria in good shape? Well, you may need to do the special test. The special test which will check for your flora, it will check for your digestion capacity, and to check for the pathological flora as much, and not just the flora, parasites and certain things. That test is available through certain labs. Not every labs do the test. It's available through certain labs. And for the people who want to do a test, I will be helping that in my office. You're welcome to come and we will order the test for you. Another thing which is maybe influence the weight loss is a chronic inflammation, and this is another pandemic issue. But chronic inflammation is not what is the people think about infection. The person may have no infection but may have a chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is a change in the inflammatory mediator balance, cytokines, right? They become not functioning normal, they become unbalanced, and that just change chemistry of the cells. It just making cells to produce more than necessary ROS, which is your oxygenation molecules. Well, chronic inflammation may last years. Chronic inflammation may not manifest with anything which is you can feel, except for you feel fatigue, you're not feeling well, it's there. It is very easy to determine with the blood works. Nutrition deficiency. Another issue which is very common. Vitamins deficiency, vitamin D is deficiency. It's a pandemic. It's just like I'm more surprised when I see the patient with a good range of a vitamin D than the patient when I see somebody with a low vitamin D. Some minerals, some vitamins, vitamin C, selenium, trace elements. One of the common beliefs, which is I see with the patients, which is the doctor during routine checkup, like annual checkup, will check everything, which is would not be possible for the doctor to do because it's a lot of tests. And those tests for the vitamin C, for example, right, for selenium, they never been ordered routinely. The doctor should have a reason to order them in addition. However, those vitamins are very common deficiency, more common when we may recognize it. Infection, and one of the infection is pretty clear. However, there is one infection which is being overlooked. It is a mold, house molds. The house molds in health. The house molds cause chronic inflammation, and yes, those black marks on your ceiling could be a reason why you're not losing weight. Believe me or not, that's just possible. Carbs and sugar intake, glucose balance. If you're taking too much glucose, if you're taking too much carbs, well, you're resetting your metabolism, you're making your body resistant to the sugar. That will affect your weight loss. Cortisol in terms of stress and sleep, that is also very interesting. Cortisol is a hormone which is waking up in the morning. Waking up us in the morning. Cortisol is hormone which is we are responding with to the stress. Well, if the cortisol is disbalanced as a result of the chronic stress, as a result of a disturbed sleep patterns, it will influence insulin. Insulin is hormone which is responsible for the proper management of sugar. If that chain is disturbed, you will have something which is called insulin resistance develop, and insulin resistance is a pathway to diabetes. So that is important to have a good sleep. That is important to control your stress. And if it's not controlled well, that's maybe why you're not losing weight. Craving reward satisfactory pathway, that is another thing, that is something which is our body do. If we do some work, if we do some stress, if we do some activity, if we spend energy, our body wants to be rewarded. There is a biochemical mechanism for us to reward, and that is involved dopamine receptors. If that mechanism doesn't work properly, well, we have a craving. You may notice on the happy times of your life, when you're traveling or you're in love, you're not eating as much. That's the direct outcome of the craving reward satisfactory mechanism. You're happy. You don't need that much food. When you're not happy, well, you try to compensate it with the food. Low metabolic performance as a result of the thyroid. Well, the thyroid gland is a common issue. A lot of people say this. Which is not many people recognize, which is the blood works, which is else done in routine physical exam, include like usually the TSH, right? TSH is not really thyroid hormone. It's the hormone which stimulates thyroid. To evaluate proper function of the thyroid, you need a full thyroid profile, and you're in particularly interested about the part which is says free T3 hormone, because this is active hormone, which is our body has receptors to use, right? So you need a full thyroid hormonal profile to justify how your thyroid works. Well, intoxication, liver, kidney, lymph pathway, sex hormones, all of that factors, which is if they disbalanced, they will influence your weight loss. Drug use. Well, drugs is a toxin. Toxin change metabolism of the cell. That will influence your weight loss. Social and community clue. Then this social community clue, that is pretty much self-explanatory. If your surrounding is not healthy habits, most likely you will not follow healthy habits either, and you are prone to do the behaviors which will contribute to the weight gain. So over the other side of my slide, you can see a certain blood works, which is a highly recommended for evaluation of your capacity of a normal weight loss, and we kind of touch on them. So my next slide is talking about same thing. Effective weight loss is moving calories in, calories out, right? Chronic inflammation, as we said. Excessive fat tissue itself, believe it or not, may be responsible for changing your metabolism, and the fat tissue itself may produce a certain substances which stop you from a normal weight loss. And that is, you have a cycle, which is you have that fat which is you need to lose, but that's fat which is preventing you from doing this. Excessive fat tissue suppresses growing hormone. Growing hormone is a very interesting thing. That is something which has been thought as something we needed during childhood and growing age. Well, we do need it when we become adult. Growing hormone is becoming recovery hormone, which is then we get adults. So it's responsible for the normal function of other hormones, that is responsible for gaining muscular mass, that is responsible for the normal function of the lipolysis. It is responsible for many things, right? That is what about we will talk about growing hormone a little bit later in more details. For successful use of insulin, for successful use of insulin, thyroid hormone, serotonin, and some other substances in our body, we'll need them to go inside of a cell, because that is where we will be used, inside of a cell, not outside. So we need to enter. We enter through receptors. Receptors is a certain day like a gates, which is our cell have to put anything in and out. If receptors is not working properly, you cannot use the substance, whatever receptor belong to, you cannot use it, even if it's available. Adding more substance will not fix your problem because you cannot use it. There could be different reasons for why is receptors broken. One of those reasons is too much of something, like for example, too much of insulin, right, will lead you to increase the insulin resistance. Same true about other. Too much of thyroid hormone will make the thyroid hormone receptors broken. So you need to reset those receptors. And if you remember, we're talking about fasting, right? It's one of the most effective ways to reset your receptor. Give your body a break. Give that receptor some time to recover. Otherwise, it will not do that. What else may be important? It could be certain nutrients, and a lot of them is related to this group, which is called trace elements nutrients. If you're deficient on those, your receptors will not be working properly. So in high state of resistance, our body is not utilized whatever it needs to be utilized. Okay, we have overmelt, we have a shutdown, we're not losing weight. Intestinal absorption of nutrients could be very important, and if you remember earlier, we talked about the gut, leaking gut syndrome, microflora. That is how it's connected. Hormone factors of obesity. Well, some hormone factors are genetic. That is unfortunately reality. Certain genotypes have less capacity to produce or to utilize certain hormones. That is our risk factors, that is making weight loss more difficult for the people who has this problem. Whereas certain things, which as you can see here, hormone leptin and adiponectin alteration, okay, close connected to the stress and increase of the cortisol. Increase of resistin, another hormone which is made by the fat cells, which is, if you remember, that fat cells, the fat tissue is itself is obstacle to the weight loss. That is one of that reason. Low testosterone level in men found increased metabolic syndrome. Now, the testosterone, it is not something which is related to the sex activity only. That is much more about testosterone. Testosterone can be important for both men and women. For men, yes, it does decrease your sexual, activity and things like that. But else, low testosterone put you at the risk of a cardiovascular disease, increased risk of neurodegeneration, which is associated with the old age, decline of mental and cognitive capacity. For women, that's even more interesting. The low testosterone could be responsible for the fatigue, lack of self-esteem, lack of enjoyment of life, memory loss. So all of that could be related to testosterone. We never think about testosterone as a female hormone, but we have both. Both women and men has testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. The proportion of them is important, and that is what the regenerative medicine, functional medicine talk about the restoring that balance. Okay, back to our subject. Chronically elevated stress hormone disrupts endocrine system, decrease conversion T4 to the T3. I just touched a little bit about the thyroid, right? So that whole bunch of the thyroid profile, which is we're talking about, we usually talks about hormone T4. T4 is what is the synthroid is, it's synthetic T4. T4 is what is checked, and T4 is actually very often used to measure of what is your thyroid looks like, what is your thyroid function like. Well, T4, it's just hormone, but it's really a hormone because our body cannot use. Our body can use form T3, which is coming as the result of T4 conversion to the T3 with a substance called selenidase. Selenidase, it is a molecule which is based on selenium. If you're low in selenium, it will be affecting it. If you not converting T4 to the T3, you may have normal level of T4. However, your body will be suffering from something called, is like semi-official called low T3 syndrome, which will be syndrome which is with all the symptoms of a hypothyroidism except of, we will be saying, but you have a normal levels of hormones. Not exactly. It does not always mean you need to take the synthroid hormone or T4 hormone, synthroid or whatever other form of thyroid hormone to fix it. Sometimes you need things like vitamin or mineral correction. The high sugar can influence that conversion. So what is possibility of problem with your thyroid hormone utilization outside of your thyroid gland? You need to know that if you want to have effective weight loss, and as a matter of fact, movement weight loss, which is coming to fatigue, another issue in your life. Factors of obesity, reward cascade, that's what we touched a little bit early, then the serotonin and dopamine doesn't act as it should, and it's increased the craving, and increase the addiction behavior, and that's been very interesting because that dopamine, low dopamine receptor activity is connected to the multiple addiction, not just the food addiction, which is very often is a reason for the obesity. Obese individuals is low on serum tryptophan. Tryptophan is a precursor of serotonin. Serotonin is important for calming and craving satisfaction, right? This is a very much thing which is a lot of people think as disbalance reason for depression, and the serotonin is one of medication, and serotonin-based medication is what is the people getting for treatment of depression. So that is another connection why the people may not lose weight. Back to the microbiome, you remember those gut bacteria, right? Immune and other system microbiome. What is the microbiome can be affected? That could be affected by a bunch of medications. Antibiotic, over-the-counter painkillers, corticosteroids, and the people who take inhalers for asthma, very often you will be using corticosteroids on a long-term basis. Birth control pills could affect your microbiome. The heartburn and stomach medication, those out-of-the-counter, don't want to put any names of medication, but those medications can affect effectiveness of your microbiome. Metformin medication for the diabetes does help influence to your microbiome. Statins, it's a cholesterol medication, and for God's sake, I'm not telling you not to take the statins. The statins saving lives. Statin prevents you from getting into the cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and things like that. However, even the good medication sometimes needs some additional corrections, which comes in the nutrition and maybe supplementation, which will balance them, and you still will have benefits from medications as much as you will have benefits of a healthy flora and maybe other things in the body which is related to that. Antipsychotics, they do influence microbiome as much. And opioids. Opioids is a totally different story. It's a medication which is you need to be very careful with any opioids medication, but in addition to other things, they do affect your microbiome. So when you choose your diet, you really want to know more about yourself, because the choosing of a diet in a big part connected to what is your body function like. And on this side of my slide, I have a picture of fragment from the one of genetic testing. So that testing is telling genetic trend of dieting and nutrition tendencies. As among other things, like for example for this person, it says what the person does not metabolize well carbohydrates, but the fat metabolism is good. So if that person will go on a low-fat diet and probably will get increase of carbs, that person will fail. That person needs something like a ketone diet, that person needs some high-protein diet, but in general, that person needs calories restrictions, so all groups will be present in the certain proportions, still will not cause any bad tendency in a diet. Decision making. Unfortunately, decision making about obesity is not easy. We fight obesity for years. Usually obesity starts pretty early in life, and usually obesity continues very late in life. Well, if you're doing something for 40 years, but you weighed more when you started fighting your obesity now, that means you fail. In general, that means you fail. And whatever you did before, if it did not bring you to the good success, then probably it will not bring you to good success now. Talking about the obesity and that medical scale of weight. If your body mass index is under 35, you have a good chances to succeed with a diet and exercise. Between 35 and 40, it's become more challenging. Above 40, more aggressive methods may be your solution. Everyone, no matter how big are you or how small are you, if you want weight loss, you have to try actively, constantly for at least 6 months. Go with scientific. If it's necessary, some add-ons help may be added to your regimen, but in general you need a diet and exercise for at least 6 months, and you have to do that on a constant basis. You cannot cheat on yourself, because when you do diet and exercise and you're cheating, you're only cheating to yourself. So if you go in with diet and exercise for 6 months and you see good progress of your weight loss, then you probably should continue with that. If you try for 6 months, if you did not lose much, if you have additional diseases such as cholesterol, diabetes, musculoskeletal problems, spine problem, your chances to succeed lesser. See the bariatric surgery. Bariatric surgery is not a bad choice. I hear a lot about bariatric surgery, but it's truly not a bad choice for the right person. Bariatric surgery could be considered, it's not how much extra weight you have. Bariatric surgery could be considered for anybody with a body mass index above 40, and it can be considered for the people with a body mass index 35 and up if they have other morbidities which is making that body mass index morbid obesity, the disease on itself, right? Obesity disease on itself. Bariatric surgery is better than you have less weight to lose. Why? For example, you have 100 pounds to lose. You will lose certain percent of your overweight. You will not lose everything, but certain percent will go away with certain surgeries. So let's say you have 100% to lose. You have 100 pounds to lose. And you go for a surgery. And you lose 70%, which is a very common thing, of your excessive weight. Well, you still have 30 pounds extra, but when you lose 70 pounds, you went from a stage 3 obesity to, let's say, normal weight or a slight overweight, right? You're doing good. You get the benefits of your health, you decrease your health risk, you probably reverse your high blood pressure, you probably improve or reverse your insulin resistance. Good. Let's say somebody weighed more and they need to lose 200 pounds. Well, what will happen? We will lose that weight, and of course that will be still good. So let's say we went from a 350 to the 240. Well, 240 better than 350. Unfortunately, that still be morbid obesity. And the risk which comes with morbid obesity will still there. So those people will still have threats from obesity to their health and longevity. The earlier you start, the better it is. Another thing which is I hear from some people, which has come to me and I start talking about bariatric surgery, is, oh, but I hear somebody did the surgery and they had such a complication. And if I will not do, I will just the same. Well, understand, obesity is progressive disease. Progressive diseases mean if you have a tendency, steady tendency to gain weight over the last 5 years, the tendency probably will continue the same way. So it will not stay the same. It will get worse because you will weight more. And there is, again, the diseases which is associated with obesity, and it comes with increase of your weight. Your mobility will be down, your social life will be down because of mobility. You're not able to go somewhere because your back is hard, because your legs is hard, because you're short of breath, because you're not feeling well. You will develop cardiovascular disease. Your blood pressure will go up. Your sugar will go up. You will get the secondary diseases, which is in complications, which is now associated with diabetes, like loss your vision, like loss of circulation, like loss of kidney. All of that will happen. That's something which will make your life worse. That's why the early intervention of obesity is truly good idea. And probably early on that, body mass slightly over 40, you will have better chances for that surgery to go smooth and without complications, because the other disease, the cardiovascular disease and things like that, will not be a factor of your recovery. You are, in general, a healthy person. You have better chances to go from the surgery smooth and recover. So that's just about more extreme methods of weight control. Now, if you're doing diet, if you're doing exercise, a lot of people try on else to do some supplements and some help to lose weight. So let's talk a little bit about what is available for the weight loss supplements and help. Over-the-counter weight loss supplements, nutritional supplements. First, you need to understand, most of those supplements are not FDA approved for the weight loss, and for the box will say it is FDA approved. There is a huge difference between FDA approved for the indication and FDA approved for the supplementation. So medication is something which is went through a certain trial, is manufactured with a certain dose, and has absolutely clear indication which is backed up by research, which is if that dose, that medication will cause that positive effect for your health. Like for example, blood pressure medication, right? Let's say atenolol at a dose 25 will decrease your blood pressure and the heart rate, right? Anything which is nutritional supplements, vitamins, they say may support, right? When you read that label, it says may support certain goals, like may support weight loss. What does that mean? That means it did not go through a trial similar to medication, and it cannot be proved, which is that thing will cause weight loss, right? In that amount and that percentage. So anything which is on a supplement says FDA approved, basically mean which is FDA look at ingredient and they find out when we're not toxic and we find out we will not harm you. Basically which is not a poison. So the only available out-of-the-counter medication, which is truly medication FDA approved for the weight loss, is a medication called Ali. Ali works as the absorbent. You have to take it before the food, before you eat the food, and it will take some fat inside of your cells, and that way it will change the amount of calories which is you ingest, and it does have medication status, and it does help with the weight loss. Safe, nice, good choice. Anything which says increase your metabolism and fat burning, that's usually have a plants or some substances which is basically speed up your heart rate and increases your blood pressure. And doing that, yes, you do burn more calories. It's like you're running, right? If you're running, you do burn more calories than if you're sitting. That could be used in a certain situation. It's not bad choice for some people. However, that has to be you have to be careful if you have a cardiovascular disease, if you have a blood pressure, if you have a cardiac arrhythmia, and somehow we do have a psychotropic effect that some people is becoming very irritable. They becoming sometimes we cannot sleep well at night. Sometimes here those supplements will give people side effects of nightmares. So as I said, it's not like you cannot use those supplements, but you may want to speak to your primary care doctor before you start doing that. Another common type of out-of-the-counter supplements is a water pill. Water pill is basically water pill. You're taking water pill, it's helping you to pee water out. It's not really weight loss. What is you doing, unless you have a medical reason for that, your body don't like it. So in the first possible occasion, your body will replace whatever you forcefully eliminate through using of a water pill. Functional medicine recommendation. What is a certain functional medicine, right? That, which is I practice in this functional medicine. We do have some recommendation of supplements which is we think as a good one. Probiotics, we talk about probiotics. They helping you to restore the flora. That's a good one. If you have to choose probiotics, choose one which is need to be refrigerated, because those are one which is alive. That's what you need to restore your flora. The supplement called adiponectin. It is improved glucose sensitivity, inhibits inflammatory cytokinesis, that is, those inflammatory chemicals which is you have increased with chronic inflammation, and decrease of risk of heart attack. Good supplement, right? Capsinoids. Capsinoids comes from a paper. They help you to enhance white belly fat lipolysis, right? The destruction of the fat tissue on your stomach, improves energy, metabolism, improves oxygenation of the lipids, suppress appetite. Somebody who asking about suppressing appetite, that is a choice. Melatonin. Melatonin is medication. It's not medication, supplement, which is we have as improve of the sleep. Melatonin helps you to sleep better and decrease the stress hormone. By decreasing stress hormone, it just help you to restore normal cortisol cycle. Why bean extract? It's clinically proven. There is a study actually which proves weight loss and body fat reduction. That one. Next one is Magnolia officinalis and Philodendron amusement. It is absolutely incredible supplement that just comes from with the background of a Chinese medication. It is stress related appetite control, fat deposit reduction, anti-anxiety, helps to normalize cortisol, chronic stress, right? And DHA level, which leads you to the normalizing of your hormonal balance, including exercise induced. Well, too much exercise will put you into the stress, that is another thing. And decrease the food craving. Wonderful supplement, please pay attention to that. ALA improves insulin. In certain study, it shows the same effectiveness as of the prescribed medications. Very good supplements, you may consider them. They are plenty available from the food stores, pharmacies, even online. So just look for them. Mineral chromium. Need for the normal function of insulin receptor. That just work against the insulin resistance. Magnesium. Critical for 400 biochemical reactions in our body. Low level associated with insulin resistance and increase of prediabetes. Problem with sleep, take it at night, help you to sleep at night. Vitamin D3, and that is a topic for another lecture on itself. Vitamin D3 is, in deficiency of vitamin D3, alone, without any other factors present, will increase your risk of death by 20%. When the people come to me, and the vitamin D deficiency is a very common thing. I'm more surprised to see my patients to come with a good vitamin D level when it's in deficiency. Very common. Even the people who travel to tropical and get used some exposure, they still have low vitamin D. Cannot even answer why, but they do. So vitamin D plays a role in insulin resistance regulation, in immune response, in anti-neuroinflammatory, like those old age disease, dementia, Alzheimer, things like this. It's a neuroinflammatory. Play a role in utilization calcium and bone health. So anybody who wants to ask me why we need to take the vitamin D supplementation, because you want to be alive. It's increase your chance to stay alive by 20%. Trace elements, it's a group of small elements such as selenium, zinc, chromium. They need it for many body reactions, so this is what else you very often need to replace. Okay, now we're talking about prescribed medication, right? And it's common thing is you come to the doctor and you want the prescribed medication. Well, the prescribed medication could be started with, if your body mass index more than 27.5, we cannot start it below that index. If you look the medication, pharmacological information, you will see that very clear. Those medications are else means to be given as adjunction to the diet and exercise plan. So that fact, which is you need to have a calories deficit for that medication to work, is not changed. Those medication help if you already have situation when your body will lose the weight. One of the most common is a fentanyl. Another name for it is Lomatra, Adipex, right? It can promote weight loss when used for a short time. It is controlled substance. Not every patient understands that when they come. It is controlled substance. Can cause rapid of irregular heartbeats, delirium, panic, psychosis, and a heart failure. I wouldn't say the medication is not effective. It is effective, though my preference is different choices. Two other medications, Belvic and Contrive, not bad choices actually. Those medications is helpful for the people who has a craving of the food and cannot stop eating, right? Which is that I cannot stop myself from eating. That is what you're looking for. They help to control the appetite by treating your obesity as a food dependency. They really treat dependency. This is some examples of supplements which I put on the screen for you to use. One thing which I want to advise: don't read watches that fat loss, right? Read the back label. The back label is important information. It says what is really is in those medication, and that is how you can choose the right one for yourself. No preference on the brand or anything in that lecture, just to put your attention. You read something, look at the label. Okay, what are some other choices which I think is a good choice? Like the choices come from a compounding pharmacy. Compounding pharmacy is a pharmacy which is make medication for the patient. It's not the big pharma. They have a little bit different options which is not available from a big manufacturer production. So one of the I use a lot in my office is a MIC or lipotropic injections. What is that? That is mix of the fatty acids, certain fatty acids, which is you can see right here, and a mineral and vitamins, which is promotes you more effective fat loss in the situation when you're dieting and exercise. That just did not change, but when you're dieting and exercise, you will be losing fat more effectively. And as a matter of fact, it's very good for the promoting of the inches loss, which is sometimes a very stubborn problem. That's medication I love because it just helps detoxification, it just helps to support peripheral nerve system, it just stabilize, it's helped to stabilize your sugar and the fat metabolism, which is it's very good medication for the right choice. And one thing which is I want to put to your attention, which is else could be given as the pill, which is combined with other medications, which is help you to control appetite and to improve your fat loss. That could be done, all right? You need a prescription for that. You need to see the doctor for that, but this can be done. The other big thing which is coming to the weight loss market, which is the peptide therapy for the weight loss. So when I've been asking what is that peptide? Peptide is a molecule formed by a combination of two more amino acids, right? There is an endless combination of peptides. It's a lot of peptides. Some of them is being in use for a medical reason, some of them is not yet, but I think it will be in the future. Peptide in general is a signal molecule. Insulin is one of the first peptides which was discovered ever. Well, why is this important? Aging associated with the changes in the body. Increase reactive oxygenation species, decrease of the species becoming good molecules again. Mitochondrial dysfunction, again mitochondria is the structure inside of your cell which is breaking down fat and sugar for energy. Decrease immune function, loss of muscular mass, another word for it is sarcopenia, loss of energy, loss of sleep, decrease of the most of the hormones except the cortisol. Cortisol the only hormones which is increases with age. And we don't want it, it's not good for us. Slow metabolism, neuroinflammation comes to the dementia, Alzheimer, and all of that unpleasant things which is leads you to cognitive decline, memory loss, and things like that, right? Altogether, we call it old age. Well, goal of peptide therapy is to improve communication patterns in your body and restore your body function to a more optimal and healthy state. And it sometimes is going back to the younger age of communication pattern, right? Different peptides can be used for numerous things, and it's truly like endless things. But today we will talk a little bit about peptide, which could be used for the weight loss purposes. The peptide called L-glutamine. It's a protein. It's helping with the protein synthesis, support growing hormone levels, helps to maintain muscular mass. Ideal for metabolic stress test, including heavy exercises. Heavy exercise is a heavy physical stress. Anybody who have to go from very intense physical work may consider the two as a help for their routine. Protect gastrointestinal tract, including situation of autoimmune colitis state. All right, so people with autoimmune colitis, you may consider it. Alpha GPS, which is improved choline level. Choline is something which is found in the cover of the neurocells, okay? That choline is important for the peripheral nerve system and for the central nerve system both. It's improved the level of a growing hormone, which is increased hepatic fatty acid oxygenation. People with a fatty liver, think about this. Can be taken as a pill or the nasal spray. Phosphatic acids, improved ability to build muscle. All right, we just talk about the old age associated with the muscular mass lost. Effective as the therapy associated with the muscular mass lost and can be taken as a pill. RG3, well, work against neuroinflammation. In a weight loss aspect, could be important as the chronic inflammation, a factor of being not able to lose weight. The truth is RG3 is much more exciting for the people who has a neurodegenerative disease, Alzheimer, Parkinson, traumatic brain syndrome, and all of those things which is associated with a problem with your neurological system. Testosterone, okay, serotonin, noradrenaline, dopamine reuptaker inhibitor. And you remember that reward control mechanism, which is breaking out with inadequate weight loss. So it helps with appetite control, improve weight loss capacity, in adjunct with the diet and exercise. Well, that's unavoidable. And there is a big group of products which is we use as the help to restore good growing hormone factors. The growing hormone itself is available as medication, but it has a very strict indication that it only can be given to somebody who is in deficiency of a growing hormone. Usually, that is therapy which is come with a young age. Usually, it's not the therapy which is used with more advanced age, right? So, what is the growing hormone is doing? Growing hormone is hormone of recovery. It is helping us to rebuild and repair. What is it helps to rebuild and repair? Practically everything in our body. If your grandmother was telling you what is your disease will go away with sleep, she was in more sense when you think about it. Because when we sleep in a deep phase of sleep, the growing hormone once it's produced stays same, like not unchanged in our body for approximately 15 minutes. Then it's gone. It has several cycles of a production during the deep sleep, but don't forget, the deep sleep is every 90 minutes, right? The sleep cycle also has rounds, and it's in average 90 minutes round. If you're not sleeping well, if you're not going into the deep sleep, the production of your growing hormone is impaired. If your production of the growing hormone impaired, you don't have capacity to heal as you should. Well, growing hormone is important for developing muscular mass. Then somebody start losing muscular mass, right? That growing hormone can help. There is several options which is we considering to be given in the growing hormone and in the functional medicine. Sermolene combo was in the market for years, was a choice of preferences, not anymore. That's take approximately 6 months to see the clinical benefits, long time to wait. CJC combo, it is improved IGF-1. IGF-1 is what is your growing hormone is turned into after it's been metabolized in the liver, and that is what the active form, which is our body actually use for the needs of recovery and things like that. So that combination is good. It's giving us injections. It takes approximately 3 months to see the clinical benefits. 3 months is a long time. But it's great to increase the deep wave of sleep, and that deep wave of sleep is when you actually producing your growing hormone, right? This is the choice which is I do prefer in my clinical. It's tesamorelin. That is else injections. Those injections to be given at home, 6 days over 7. That is start giving you benefits in 3 weeks after you start using it. Reduce triglycerides. Triglycerides is the most unpleasant part of our elevated cholesterol profile, right? Reduce visceral adipose tissue. Visceral is a fat which is cover your organ, and that is one of the hardest to get rid of. Reduce carotid edema, and that is the table which is used in actually scientific studies, right? So improve cognition on the people over 60 years old, right? That mental decline, that is a truly bad thing which is making somebody old. Mental decline, that just could be improved with that treatment. Plus helping you to reduce fat, helping you to increase muscular mass. Very good choice for the weight loss in conjunction with the diet and exercise that doesn't go anywhere. And one of that, which is here interesting because, as you see, all of that is injection. This one is a pill. MKI 677. It raises IGF-1 less than other options. It is still have 3 weeks to start giving you benefit. It is help improve your sleep. It is help to improve your energy. It is help to improve your muscular mass. So that is with certain options on a light touch. If anybody needs to talk more about them, you're welcome to come and we'll talk about more about those things. So that is what I was planning to cover today during this lecture. And at the end, I just want to say, which is weight loss is a very complex goal. It is a long term. It is dependent on you. If you don't have enough strong will, nothing will help. You need to do it for yourself. We're here to help you do that. And I wish everybody good luck. Thank you. And once again, that was Svetlana Pyatigorskaya, family nurse practitioner, and I seen my patient at the 13 East 37th Street, New York, New York.